Sure.
Okay, so yesterday we left off with the Old Vahadar Mishna Berura, which is going to be commentating on the Mishna Berura when he said that the disagreement that Hillel and Shammai had, and Shammai had the approach you buy early in the week, that way you get out of any potential issue that you're not going to end up having good food. And if you find better animals, so then the first one you eat it now, and the later one you would use for Shabbos. So that's what Shammai would say. Footnote Yud Tes in those Vahadir. Let's see what they say on this. Uviksav Sofer Hikshalza. The Ksav Sofer has a question on this. Im lo yochol es a kechusha b'chol lo yuchol le'echol es hashmini b'Shabbos. If you're not going to eat the thin one during the week, so now you're not able to eat the fat one on Shabbos. Ubir alpi hamuva begemara shabir Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi esanem kol yemei ani yiraim. Pasuk in Mishlei says all of my days were ani yiraim, days of bad poverty. Chi kol yom avrayim, all of his days were bad. Va'aloi b'Shabbos yom tovim. Mechalken la'aniya mono yisum zoinus v'adzim yom tovim. What about Shabbos and Yantif, where we distribute to the poor people sorts of gifts and food? So then the days are good. Metaretz alpi divrei Shmuel. So the answer based on what Shmuel says, Shamar shekol shinui seder etzel adam ba'achilo goyim shemaschil etzlo cholim ayin. Any type of physical change that a person undergoes when it comes to one's eating habits, that could be the beginning to stomach issues and sicknesses in your intestines. Similarly, all of the days of the ani, all the days of the week, so he would eat like a bad type of bread, and on Shabbos he would eat meat. So he would start getting sick because he's changing his eating habits. So Shammai certainly wasn't interested in eating every single day meat, because the way of the Torah is when it comes to eating, so it says pas melech soichel. It says in the Mishnah, it says in the Brisa rather at the end of Avos in the 6th parak that you shall eat bread with salt. So whole discussion is that talking about lechachil, or only if you didn't have any option you should still learn Torah before mitzvahs even though you're only having bread and salt. That it seems like how Rashi's going, but anyways, Shammai certainly said that no, I'm going to stick with very basics, and this isn't an important thing, which is not getting used to. Person shouldn't get used to pampering himself with all of these high-end meals and luxuries, right? Low maintenance. Even so, Shammai would eat during the entire week. Shammai would eat meat, in order that he would be regular to eat Shabbos food. And he wouldn't be in pain if he would eat the Shabbos food. And he could fulfill the mitzvah of Shabbos properly. This is a fascinating approach. According to this, Shammai did have meat during the week, only so that when he would have it on Shabbos, it would be easier for his digestive system. And therefore, all the eating that he did during the week was called in honor of Shabbos. This is the explanation of the Ksav Sofer. What simon did we learn the truth from of Harfinus? I feel like
that is fascinating.
Fascinating approach. What does anyone remember? What simon was it in? I think it was maybe Hilchos Kiddush when we learned Rav Harfinus said, "Do you need to eat cholent? If you know, we'll give you a stomach ache."
You have to eat cholent all week, so you won't give you a stomach ache on Shabbat.
Right? No, he didn't say that, but he was saying if you know you're gonna have a stomach ache. So then he was going back and forth.
I guess because it's not only Shabbos.
Right, it's not only Shabbos if you're going to be in the bathroom for an hour.
He spoke about it.
Yeah, so he was talking about it depends maybe how much you eat, and then he was donning if you know yourself that you won't need to go to the bathroom until after Shabbos, you'll have issues then, so that wouldn't be a bit of Onik Shabbos. No one remembers where that was?
Oh.
How do you spell cholent? How do I spell?
Shabbos is
How would
CHE.
I have spelt it?
That's a
Cholent. Cholent. Was it in the Zimun? Cholent. Oh, we did it again.
on the
That's
spot.
why you got to type your notes off on the spot, live, under pressure. Look at that. What is the halacha if someone simin reish ayin dalid? What is the halacha if someone get damaged and a stomach pain from eating Shabbos food such as challah? Rav Yisrael Harvardis in Nishal Shuvas Nishma Shabbos Chelik Beis Simin Kuf Pei Dalid explains that he should just taste a little, even though it's a mitzvah to eat half food on Shabbos, because it is covered or owning Shabbos to do so. Nevertheless, if it damages you immediately on Shabbos, then it's prohibited to eat large quantities of food on Shabbos, of that food on Shabbos. However, if he only has stomach pains after Shabbos, then he may eat as much as he wants. He's not obligated to do so, however. If he only has a little bit of pain from eating such food, and it depends if the pleasure of consuming the Shabbos food outweighs the pain that which would result after eating the food. Even so, we should still taste a little. Firstly, one should taste a little in order to have kavod oneg Shabbos. Interesting, before I spelled it in Hebrew, over here it's in English. Secondly, according to the Stukim, it's prohibited to eat half food on Shabbos. Therefore, one should specifically eat half food on Shabbos.
Wait,
Wow.
when is this up?
Yeah, what, David?
When did the Rav write this?
This is, I mean, I'll go right now. This is Lechem Mishnah. We haven't opened this folder in 2 years, 1/15/23.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
when
so-
that's when it's open.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is exactly like 2 years ago. This is when these are the halachas of Chala. I remember the Siman.
Yeah.
And Nishma Shabbos. And it was, I think, Kuf Pei Dalid. And I want to just have it on the screen if anyone wants to look at it.
It's hot.
Give me the
But I
second.
don't. If you have hot food, is it included? Should you try to have a hot beverage too?
It just has to be a hot food. Actually, we're gonna see in the Siman about that. That
Yeah.
we're actually
Like
gonna
hot
talk about
tea.
soup. Yeah, we're gonna talk about soup. So we're
Tea
gonna
or
talk about
soup?
that.
Ooh,
Just
soup.
stay patient.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Here's the PDF file, by the way. Here's the tshuva. If you want to, or if anyone wants to, who's watching, wants to just pause it, and so that they could read this tshuva. They want to go through the whole thing. I mean, what we just did is English. So here, if anyone wants to just do it, here's the whole tshuva. Okay, so
On the
that's
topic of Shabbos foods,
what?
on the topic of Shabbos food, it's interesting because, you know, I think certainly overall I would spend the most on Shabbos food on like the sudas, but as far as it being the nicest, you have let's say you have a quarter of a chicken. It's a quarter, like most people have a quarter of it, the chicken thigh or whatever it's called on Shabbos, and it's not the nicest thing you can get, but it's the whole Suda, right? It's the whole, having multiple courses, and because I think a lot of people, especially where we live, a lot of people that piece of chicken isn't the nicest thing they have all week.
Well, Hasidim, you saying? Yeah.
Anyone,
Yeah,
anyone
we are going to in
area.
great detail discuss different courses, the type of food, where it comes from to have these different types of food, what the background is. I mean, this is the place where we're going to discuss food.
I'm saying
We're going to get to that.
the famous quarter chicken, the thigh and
Yeah,
the leg.
we're going to get to all sorts of food. We're
That's
going
what
to
most
go.
people have on
We're
Shabbos.
going to discuss from soup to fish to. I mean, we're gonna discuss meat.
Schnapps.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss schnapps. We're gonna discuss fish before, after meat, meat before fish. We're gonna discuss all of this. So we're gonna
It's my
get
kind of sure.
Yeah.
What about the dessert? You have to make a compote or a
compost.
compote.
You call compote? I thought it was
Compost.
compost.
No,
Oh,
compost.
compote. Right. No, compost something else. Right. Yeah. All right, we're gonna discuss all of it. Stay tuned. Okay, so anyways, so that's what they say over there. All right, let's go weiter over here. So Shammai would do this. Hillel would do this in order to strengthen his bitachon. He would say, "No, I'm going to wait until Erev Shabbos to buy." But he himself agrees that most people aren't at that level and therefore shouldn't do that.
What was that Ksaf Sofer going on? What's that Oshia test going on? That he brought this whole thing
Os
down?
Yud test.
No, Chaval, sorry.
Oh, Yud test.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going on. I think the machlokes between Hillel and Shammai, and it was explaining Shammai. It was going over here. So it'd always be later for Kavod Shabbos. Chaf Aleph came beer b'chayodim b'kosav kain b'kedei liyashiv matam pasku lahalacha kishamai. So the chayodim over here is giving an explanation, which the Mishna Berura quotes why most people should go like Shammai, because most people can't handle that level of belief in Hashem of just waiting to the last minute to get something. It's risky. Most people cannot handle such a thing. So therefore, that's the chayodim. The Mishna Berura paskins this way. Quoting the chayodim says you go like Shammai, and better safe than sorry. In other words, the Kosav came b'kedei liyashi matam pasku halacha kashamai, and he writes this in order to explain the reason that we hold like Shammai. Don't we always hold like Hillel? Ramban, also the Ramban in Shmos Chaf pasuk Zayin al Rashi and Shmos over there. Perish al pasuk Zachuras Yom Shabbos Chach, remember Shabbos and make it holy. If you have a nice item, you should leave it for Shabbos. Veneer mitavarav, it appears from his words that what? He's holding like Shammai. Ramban. So the Ramban has a kasha. Since we have a machlokes over here between Shammai and Hillel, and in all places the halachas like Hillel, so then Rashi should not have been explaining like Shammai. Maybe the intention of the pasuk is, explains the Ramban, every single day you have to remember Shabbos. How? When you remember it, then you remember the creation of Bereshis. All right, so that is the machlokes Hillel Shammai. Not that it matters, but this is actually, I don't know. This isn't my favorite part of the simon. It's machlokes Hillel Shammai. Just me personally, whatever. I think the Torah is interesting, and the rabbis, and were they involved with the Chana Shabbos, but everyone, whatever they prefer. But if it's uncommon to buy, if you're not going to buy it today, there's a concern that you might not have it. So then, for sure, buy it immediately. And Shammai would agree to that. Okay, and then, this is my favorite. This is one of my favorites of the simon. Mitzvah litoy mikol tav shushu asid le'echel imenu b'Shabbos. The mitzvah to taste from every single dish that you're going to eat from, they added in the future on Shabbos. Erev Shabbos. On Erev Shabbos, on the eve of Shabbos, is a mitzvah. Today, l'takman yafik ahoigin, in order to prepare it properly, the food. Look at the Sefer Shulchan Shalom, which says tima b'Shabbos atzmo. Tasting on Shabbos itself, mikol min ma'achal bevadai, from tasting on Shabbos itself from every single item. PDF file is this 3. All right, I see what they did over here. Okay, so the next, so they had a lot of the Be'er Halacha takes up a lot of real estate over here in those who had this. All right, see, okay, I see. So you got to go all the way over. Okay, here it is. He mitzvah, all the way over there. So again, let's get the whole sentence. Look at the Sefer Shulchan Shlomo. He says that tasting on Shabbos itself, mikol min ma'achal, from taking from each food item, but vadai for sure is, and then right over here, he mitzvah. For sure it's a mitzvah. She'im be'erev Shabbos, yesh l'toim, that if on Erev Shabbos we're saying taste from every single dish, kol shekein on Shabbos itself, certainly on Shabbos. Those
Things also going on Shabbos.
who taste will merit life. Yeah, it's for sure going on Shabbos. So there's definitely a mitzvah to eat on Shabbos. Where there are Jews, there's food. And therefore, if there's going to be a mitzvah to taste on Erev Shabbos, and certainly on Shabbos itself. So, this tasting a lot of times I've noticed has gotten out of hand. First of all, there's a new movement now with these younger people, talking about these kids in their 30s. You know what I'm talking about? Where they do now a kiddush before mincha on Shabbos. In other words, they'll have a couple of l'chaims. I'm well aware of this. This has happened in multiple places. I'm aware of it. It's something that's becoming more popular, So
Because
exactly
alcohol.
what you shouldn't do. And they bring out food, have food before mincha and all this. And,
Wow.
the point is that if you're going to do it and it's going to be close to Shabbos, that's not good. You
Wait,
don't want to eat too much too close to Shabbos.
Wait, what was this before Shabbos? I mean, before Shabbos Erev and before Erev Shabbos. What is this? When is
Yeah,
this
this
thing?
is talking about tasting Erev Shabbos, but a person has to be cognizant of the fact that there are halachas. I think it's Simon Reish Mem Tes about eating too close to Shabbos, too big of a meal. You're not supposed to do that. Because then you're not going to go into Shabbos with an appetite. That's the first mission in the 10th parak of Psachim. Harvey Psachim, Erev Psachim, Samichel Minchel, Yochel Achet Tichshach. Why sagt Rashi? Kedesh Yochel Master Shemitzel Le'te'av, and sagt Rashi, Mishum Hider Mitzvah. The Ran also talks about it. The point is that we're going to learn those halachas one day, Mitzvah Hashem, but you got to be careful with that. So what this means is, I've also seen another thing is that people they'll get together right before Shabbos. They'll have a whole matzav, not an official kiddush thing, but they'll call it a tameh. That stuff should be done earlier in the day, because already that close to Shabbos, you can't even fix anything anyways. But we're going to be discussing this right over here, and the question becomes,
You could always add a little seasoning.
You could, but you have to worry about also the halachas of filling up too much.
Yeah.
The question is, who is this mitzvah on? For sure, eating on Shabbos is a mitzvah on everyone. But the question is, this mitzvah of tasting, who is it on? Is it on every individual in the house? Or just one person? Right? If the whole mitzvah is to make sure that it's going to be fixed up.
One person.
So, right? And it says over here, Mikol Tafshel, from every single dish. So take a look over here down below. Of Gimel. According to this reasoning, everyone doesn't need to taste from it. If one person tastes, that's good. Why aren't many people careful with this halacha? They don't eat from every single dish on Erev Shabbos, other than the fact that their wives might, say, "What do you mean you're starting the pie? You can't do that." Right? Seems like halacha doesn't take that into consideration. No, that pie, dig in.
That's what I'm asking.
That's
The
it.
whole point-
You got the whole point to make sure it's good.
But this isn't even the Shabbos food for when these guys are doing it Friday. They're defeating the whole purpose.
Yeah,
It's not-
yeah.
It's not
They
for
could-
the food that they're having Friday.
For sure, they're not having it. No, it's just they make it to have the
That's
thing.
how I'm asking.
Yeah, for sure that. Yeah, but no, but that's but some people actually eat from some of the Shabbos food before, and they do it close, and
No, okay.
that's already. But still, if it's too close to Shabbos, then
I'm
it's
saying
too
they
close to
do it
Shabbos.
if
Has
it's
to be the
the
right time.
shoulder rub is saying it's a whole.
Yeah, I mean, where I saw this, I heard of this a few times. It was never in a shul. It was a house minyan in a few places, and I heard about it recently. Someone did it. I wasn't there, but he did it in a shul. But I don't think it was officially part of the shul. It's kind of like he had a flask or something. But you got to be careful with that. Alcohol addiction is something that these issues exist. Anyways, so the Likkutei Maharich and the Mugdei Chaim want to be Malamed Zchus. They want to defend the practice of those who aren't careful to eat from every single dish. Shanu soimchen al ti'imas hanoshim shehem mevashlois ubekios yoyse bezeh. We rely on the tasting that the women do because they're the ones who are typically cooking and they're experts. They have more expertise in the spicing and the flavoring and the cooking of the food. So therefore, the women should be involved with this. Furthermore, they write, according to the Zohar, the tasting that we're talking about is on the actual Shabbos night, not on the eve of Shabbos. It's not Pashup Shat, Halacha, the poskim don't go that way, but perhaps this is a basis to rely on those who are careful to taste from every single dish. Zohar says, Shekosov Sham, Ubelela de Shabsa, on Shabbos night, Ba'i Barnash, the son of a person needs, in other words, a person needs, La'atme Machlo, to taste from food. Because of Sham, right over there, Shmikol Makom Minaganchi Maisa Little Ma'alko Param Tashach, at least it's a way of men of great deed to at least taste from one dish. Ki bavadei chutz mehatam hapocher yesh bezer tam gam al pisod. Because besides for the simple reason for this, there's also a Kabbalistic reason for this.
To eat Erev Shabbos. To taste at Erev Shabbos.
Correct. So therefore, one should minimally taste from one dish. Seems like, according to the Zohar. Zeloshin Shar Kavanos, that Rizal says, Ro'ui la'odem litoim kol ha'tefshilin shemavash b'Erev Shabbos kol v'Shabbos kihu, dugmas ha'odem ha'mechin suda l'melech. Says the Arizal, you know why you should taste from every single dish? This is analogous. This is akin. This is just like mamish. Person is preparing a lavish meal for a king who's coming. For sure, you would be careful to use only your finest ingredients and to taste from everything before to taste and make sure that it tastes perfect. You're going to taste from the dishes if they're good. Oh, that might have been a blunder on my point. It says footnote Chav Gimel, Chav Dalet. You're going to taste if they're good. Serious nefesh. Trying to figure out how this old Vahad works. One footnote's on one page, the other one's 4 pages later. So you want to taste if there's a chisad on Ezatavshil. Right? He said down here, you want to taste if they're good and or if there's a lacking by the dish that you're making. Kadei sheyataknam or kadei sheyavashel tavshilim achirim, in order to fix them, or in order to cook other dishes. Because shemakabel hareich v'sever panim yafos. V'zehu soid to'amei achayim shetiknu b'tfilas musaf to Shabbos hamischilo tokanos Shabbos ritzio korbanoseh. Oh, hamaschilo kanta Shabbos ritzio korbanoseh. Kikol hatam hatavshilin shel Shabbos Shabbos zerich l'chaim. And he ties it into the nusach hatzilu. Machzer vitri kosav to'amei achayim zachu tana kol aton tavshil be'rishatim richin leisha. Oh, this is a good source. Machzer vitri said, whoever tastes from the dish on Erev Shabbos will have longevity. Easy halacha, fellas. Easy shmeezy. Just taste. Ubi Yushalmi Farish, Taima Shalo Yichros, Abnei Beso. Mipnei Hakdachas Tavshilo. Sivi Adata Kip Shalom Alechu Makmin and Lei B'Shabbos, but Lakas Ner Vakoshkin Sharch Lizar, Pen Yachtiv. I feel like we saw this somewhere else. So the Yerushalmi explains, what's the reason for this halacha of tasting from the dish? The answer is, because then you won't get angry on the people of your house, because a dish was burnt. Pasuk in Iyov says, know that there's peace in the house. So that's referring to lighting their Shabbos, which of course back then that they didn't have electricity, would foster peace in the house because they would be able to see. Certainly this applies that the food is good. So in other words, the reasoning for this halacha is because so that there's no shalom bayis issues, that everything tastes good.
So there's nothing actually, I mean, people just warming things up, let's say, right? Let's say you get it, nobody's actually cooking.
Yeah.
People warming thing up. Is there an Indian then of Tomel times Zachu?
Oh, because if you bought food from supermarket?
Yeah.
So if you bought food from a supermarket, 100%. Because if you're gonna taste from it and be like, this is so salty, like they ruined it, or this is gross, get back to the supermarket, you get more food. Now we're gonna learn. I mean, we're gonna cover a lot here. That's why I said we're gonna be sitting on this because this is very applicable stuff. This is, I mean, what do Jews care about more on Shabbos than food? Now, of course, I know everyone cares about the davening so much and the learning, the extra learning that they do, that they sit in the base medrash on Friday night for 4 hours, and in the summer they sit for 5 hours in the afternoon when it's long Shabbos. Obviously, everyone cares about that the most. But after all that, then everyone cares the food, right? So we're gonna discuss that more about the concept of is it preferable to cook the food actually rather than just getting it. We're going to discuss also if a person doesn't need to cook anything. He's going away for Shabbos. He's going to a simcha, a hotel, a bacher,
Eating at my friend's house.
eating out. So is there any hachana Shabbos if a person's not going to be eating one suda at home? And the story, obviously, if a person can't cook, if a couple can't do it and they're swamp, for sure you could buy it. We're talking about lichachila. Is there an idea of cooking and doing it yourself? Why? So we're gonna come back to that also. But there's a lot to discuss over here. Anyway, so this is Tohameha. It looks like their notes continue later on. So on Shabbos itself, for sure, there's a mitzvah to taste. Wasn't that search before amazing with the challan?
Absolutely.
That was
Yes.
absolutely amazing. That's why the notes, typing them, has such an advantage over writing them in a binder or in a notebook. It's so lethal. You just control F, you find it in literally seconds. And amazing. At your fingertips. Unbelievable. Okay, Nuntes and Samach. Definitely want to do these before we end today to get the whole Torah business. Okay, we definitely will. Short. Kosa b'sharat Tzion. Shemahashulchan shloima muchach she'ein ha'te'ima b'erev Shabbos rak kedei ligi im ha'machal sarcho tikun ela she'etzem ha'te'ima hi mitzvah. Valkin kosav shekol shkim b'Shabbos atzma yesh leichel makol tav Shabbos. Okay, so the Sharat Tzion is going to say from the Shulchan Shloimo that the tasting itself on Erev Shabbos is
It's a mitzvah in its own right.
yeah, it's a mitzvah in and of itself. Independently, it's a mitzvah in and of itself. It's not only in order to determine if the food needs to be fixed,
So what's
changed
the
a little
point?
bit, but additionally, it's an independent mitzvah. There's something special about it. So therefore, he writes, "Kol shekein b'Shabbos atmo yesh le'echol mikol tavshil v'tavshil." Certainly on Shabbos, it's a mitzvah. In other words, if it's going to be an independent mitzvah to taste from Shabbos and before Shabbos, certainly on Shabbos itself. According to the Eli Rabbah, though, he says that you taste from each dish in order to determine do you need to fix it or not. That's not an indication. That doesn't halachically demonstrate in any way, shape, or form that there's an independent mitzvah to eat from every single dish on Erev Shabbos. Guy's just doing what he wants. On an Alpi Zohar, maybe yesh time we call Toshim, right? Yesh litom we call Toshim. According to the Zohar that we said, you taste on Shabbos night itself. That is the story of Toyameha. Okay, we saw a person themselves should strive to be involved with the acts of Shabbos, and don't say lo yomer lo yevkom kavod. I'm not going to blemish my honor. Al di sha'achem ba'atzmi. Don't say it's beneath me to prepare for Shabbos. I'm just gonna have my servants do it. No, that is an honor of Shabbos. Okay, so it looks like this is Nun Hey to Nun Ches. Nun Hey to Nun Ches. Okay, let's get to that. Nun hey, Kosa B'Shari Tshuva. B'Shem Kavanas Arizal shehazeya she'odem azia b'achonas arich Shabbos segulim b'chichas avoynis which we already learned v'lachin sarich litros harve b'shil kavod Shabbos chim pel yoytev b'Shem Arizal shu tikun gadol pagam habris. Okay, that's the added point to say over here. The Shari Tshuva says that when a person schwitzes on Erev Shabbos, that will help erase his sins, and therefore he should burn himself a lot. We already saw that. And the Peleoites writes in Erech HaChana b'Shem Narizal that someone who prepares for Shabbos will help him with sins that happen with his makom bris.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what pagam bris means. Nun vav
by the schwitzing, he's saying? Or this is something different, just exerting oneself on Shabbos?
seems like the Schwitz. Seems like I would have to look at the Peleoites. I don't remember. I learned the sefer years ago. Excellent sefer, by the way. He doesn't need my house coming though. Shulchan Aruch Harav Kosev Shadai B'Davar Echad Shemeichel Kavod Shabbos. If enough is you prepare one thing, Shebazeh Shemeichel Ba'atzma L'Kavod HaShabbos Davar She'inu Rogil Lasois L'Soyrech Shar Dvarim Nikar Bazeh Kavod Shabbos. Because if you're going to prepare something in honor of Shabbos, something that you're not regular to do, it'll be recognizable that you're doing it in honor of Shabbos. However, the Ramban says, Kol Amar B'Davar Zeh Harizah Meshubach. Ramban Hilchos Shabbos Perek Lamed Chavav writes, anyone who does a lot of preparations is praiseworthy. B'chein b'shla. Also, the Shla says it's fine. Pelayoyitz yet again. Erech Achana Shehivi She'echad Hagedolim Haya Oisa Kol Levada. One of the Gedolim did everything himself. Kosalash Haya Oisa Kim Lefi Shegam Balichaso Taraso Manaso B'Machshavaso Otar B'Devekuso Im Koneo Bavasa V'Yiraso. Well, anan yasmi diasmi imi yishlanu mish yasa avura adiv sheisha bebeis of yaslik b'toyra rak b'davar echad yaslik kavod Shabbos. So the Peleoites comments on that doesn't apply to us nowadays. That only applies to someone who is always has spiritual thoughts on his mind. He's always learning Torah constantly, and he's really attached to Hashem. He fears Hashem. But us, we don't have such a positive intention anyways when we're prepared with Shabbos. Where Yasme Diasmi says we're orphans of orphans, and therefore, as if we just get someone to prepare Shabbos in our behalf, and we learn, that's the best option for us. Sit and learn more Torah.
Oh, yeah.
That's Peleoites. That's what he says. Stick with the learning.
Morning.
How many people could say they're having all the Halik Kavanas when they're eating the food on an Erev Shabbos, with the Torah Meha business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nun Ches. B'Gemara Sham Hevi Yoram Oram Shayoisim Devarim Kol Shabbos Fulei Tikum Kam Shulchan Aruch. Kasam Korban Shabbos Fulei Via Shulchan Aruch Levarim HaMitzvah Makom Makom Kol. The Korban Shabbos just points out that the Shulchan Aruch over here is only quoting stuff that is common that the Amoraim did, that is more common. Meaning there are other Amoraim that we learned in the Gemara that did certain acts in honor of Shabbos. You're just saying the most common. He doesn't need to get through every single last Amor over there in the Gemara. So that's his point over here. Okay, the Ramah brought the kolbo Beis Yosef. We saw the kolbo inside when we learned the Beis Yosef. It says Kavod Shabbos that to sharpen your knife. Yishlach is a sokin b'Erev Shabbos. Why should you sharpen it? The knife that you're going to use on Erev Shabbos. Kizehu, that is mikavod Shabbos shemechin atzma lechi. You're preparing it to eat. Kloimar shemetakin shmesakin umeichin es a kelim shu oichel yodam. Prepare everything that you're going to be using. Prepare everything. So it's a mitzvah to taste on Erev Shabbos. If Erev Shabbos is a mitzvah to taste from every single dish. Oh, okay, that's what we saw last. That's what we saw before. Fine. So that's the knife sharpening. So I guess we're getting closer to wrapping this one up. So I guess we'll pick it up from here next time. Which PDF file is this? I just want to remember for tomorrow. This is Zion. So I don't think we're going to go through the Be'er Halacha ones. So we're just going to do a few more Oz V'Haders. I think we should be able to finish it tomorrow. All those V'Haders. So I think it was definitely worthwhile to go through it. We're going through, of course, the highlights of what I thought was the most important lines of those V'Haders. I think they had a lot of Chedushim and important notes. So everything that we did today now, I'm going to incorporate in this Word doc. Because I started, see over here on the screen, every single day now, after we're done, I type it up and I add it in over here to what we're doing. So it's already 5 pages, everything that we did, 21 footnotes. This is everything in order. Different sections. Yosef, the person who are in Shabbos, learning Torah of Shabbos, spider webs, Toha Meha, saying Lakavod Shabbos Kodesh, buying Shabbos food. There's a large section when to buy the Shabbos food, knife sharpening. I'm gonna have to add to that now. Personal involvement. So this is the word doc. So we'll go over that after we what's in. All right, everyone have a wonderful day, bro.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I,
Have a good day.
right, I was last week in Florida, I'm going there to Israel.
Okay.